What's up, everyone? Welcome back to Run It Up. Today on the show, we are going to be continuing from yesterday's YouTube Timewarp episode. Yes, that's right. We're reviewing a $750,000 guarantee final table that I made back in 2008. If you didn't see the first part of this, you probably should go check that out. And we're going to start here today in just a second. But before we get started, I wanted to tell you guys one more time that we're very excited about going to Reno. That's right. Our big Run It Up event in Reno is only about 2 weeks away at this point. I'm really excited about that. You can find out all the information, look at the schedules, the tournament schedules, all that exciting stuff. You can go check that out. Runup.com/Reno has all that information for you over there. So I'm really excited to meet and hang out with some of you guys there. You also can sign up for our new PokerStars home game. Yes, that's right. You can come play with me anywhere around the world for play money. We're giving away all sorts of Run It Up merchandise and other very cool things, including room packages to Reno. So if that sounds cool to you, you can go check out all of that information. Runup.com/Reno also has the home game information in there. That being said, let's hop in the old time warp. So we started out yesterday, obviously nine-handed. We're down to 5 players at this point. Blinds are 30K, 60K. We have 2.3 million, which is second place. Very close with this guy, though. So stacks are relatively even. There's only one player that has 15 big blinds. Everybody else has more. So stacks have finally kind of gotten deep enough as play has slowed down a little bit. So our strategy at this point, it's going to be a little bit different. We're going to be playing a lot more small ball than we were playing in the last episode. So we're going to start trying to develop reads on our opponents, try to look back and see what I didn't do well, what I didn't do well, what I did do well, what other players messed up on, and stuff like that. Let's get rolling. So right off the bat, I don't know why I don't consider min raising here. We do know that Buko is the most aggressive player at the table, and he is on our direct left. So that is certainly something to be aware of. But I still think we could consider opening this for like a min raise or like 135K, something like that. For me, if I go like, okay, I'll make a tight fold here, but then Buko folds behind me on the button. If he doesn't take the fact that it's been folded to him and he has 3.4 million as a sign he should be aggressive, he's probably not going to be super aggressive in every other instance as well. We talked about this in an earlier Apprentice episode this season, but if you go like, oh yeah, of course we'll raise King 10 suited under the gun. Heck yeah, we're in there. If this is a 100% open hand for you, but the Queen 8 is the 100% fold or close to it, you are wrong about that, because your logic about how you're evaluating profit and things, in my opinion, is incorrect. There are very similar profit levels as far as opening. King 10 is definitely better, but it's not super significant in my opinion. So we open this hand, though, which is what I'm saying. The whole point of why I was saying that is that if I'm like, oh, yeah, King 10 is definitely an open, but the Queen 8 isn't, it's not the case. It's a lot closer than you guys think on that spectrum. Don't mind folding this hand, though. We don't have to be that aggressive, blind versus blind. Looks like Think Before You Rail decides to ship it in Buko's face there. Blinds went up to 40K, 80K. That does put a lot more pressure on everybody, basically, except for Buko. Everybody else is in a kind of a dangerous zone right now. You can tell it's 2008 because people are still raising pretty large. These days, you know, you're just more efficient with a smaller raise. You know, you just accomplish more. Now, there's no way back in the day that I had the limping strategy in the small blind. These days, I would just call and just go from there. You know, in the old days, you know, I would still raise, and so here's we are here. But this is not good. You know why this is not good? Because we're making it 205K, which is okay. But this guy is just in position with 3 million chips, getting a great price, 2.6 to 1. You know, like, he's not going to fold anything decent. He's not going to really make too many mistakes here. So I don't love this. And he also can do this also sometimes to us as well. Just make it all the 6s, and we just have to fold. So I like limp calling a lot better than how we played that hand there. That is actually, that hand is almost like the problem. And that was the problem that I felt that was very often with my small blind strategy. And now you guys have seen my solution. You guys have seen what has developed since 2008. Because that is literally it's a effect or a tactic that I developed with a lot of experience and talking and stuff like that. Just situations exactly like that. So in this hand, again, we could be making it a little bit smaller. I'm not going to say it every single time, but we are raising a little on the large side, of course. Let's see what happens here. Gonna just have to fold, unfortunately. We could have called the big blind, but not that situation. Don't mind folding this, but again, you could consider opening. But given that we've been kind of smacked around a little bit, I certainly don't mind folding here. And it does decide to shove. Okay, so in this spot, I feel like we could either raise or call. Remember, we're now in fourth. We went from being first to second to fourth now. So I think we could raise this up very easily. You know, we have a pretty good hand in position. Don't think he's gonna limp shove too often on us. We just make it 200. 40K. Sometimes he just folds, which would be awesome. We're risking 160 to win 210, right? Because our 80 is already in there. So if we make it 240, we're risking 160 to win 210, which is a crazy price considering he can just fold. So, and we have only queen 9, so I really like putting some pressure on here in position. He'll probably make some. We're going to win this pot. We are going to win this hand more often than he is, purely by the power of position. So let's play for more. Might as well play for more if we're going to win 2/3 of the time or whatever it is. So let's see what I do back in 2008. I'd probably just check. Friendly poker. Flop the gut shot, backdoor flush draw, and the queen high. I would think I would call this, but you know, maybe not. Okay. Really interesting turn card. The best turn card that doesn't improve us to pair status or better. Okay, so when he checks here now, we're a little worried about betting because if he has like a hand you want to check raise all in on, oh, it's so disastrous for us to have to like bet fold. But that being said, there's no guarantee he's going to check raise all in. We could just bet 180K here, and he'll fold probably pretty confidently, pretty decent percentage of the time. And if he decides to call, he could definitely call us with 9-8, 10-9, you know, a whole bunch of hands that beat us. Even hands like Queen Jack crush us right now. So I don't think those hands are necessarily shoving, though. They're just calling. So I'm okay with betting. And also, he'll fold hands better than Queen 9. He'll fold small pocket pairs, king highs, stuff, you know, every once in a while. So I like betting, and just not a lot, I think. I don't like this check. What this is doing is, if let's say the river is the deuce of diamonds, who wins the pot more often on the deuce of diamonds, us or him? Probably him, because he's going to check to us. What do we have? What in the world do we have that would play this way, that would just call pre, or check pre, right? Check pre, just call flop, check back turn, and then bet river. Like, what? It doesn't make any sense at all. Like, what hands make sense that would do that? So if you change that, though, and either raise pre or bet turn, you can have a lot more hands that are stronger, put some more pressure on him earlier on. He'll have to pay potentially 2 times to see a showdown instead of just 1, as we'll do if we check back here, as we checked back here. I just think this is like 2005 mindset. I just hadn't evolved the realization of just how terrible this is to check back here on the turn. You know, semi bluffs are they're called semi bluffs for a reason, not semi check backs. Let's see a river card. Like, you know, like you want to take that fold equity plus, you know, the equity of your hand and combine that into a double power axe and just, you know, smash that down onto him here and hopefully make him fold a better hand. Checking back is just it doesn't win the pot very often. Doesn't win the pot very often. Like, this is exactly the situation we're in. He checks, what do we do? Even if he checks, what do we do? We're gonna bet now? I just hate it. I just hate it. If he bets, we have to fold. We could be making a mistake, you know, obviously, or he could just be, you know, it's not good. This is not, I think the turn play is really bad. Pre-flop is not great, but I think turn is where the big mistake was made this hand. If I'm going to play the hand that way, I don't think I can, I don't think I should check turn ever, really. Okay, and Arexic picking up some chips there. Pixing up some chipsings. So, okay, I guess we're going to fold that there. We're getting a little bit in the danger zone here. We're certainly going to have to find some spots to accumulate because we haven't really done any accumulation since we had, like, that big downswing. Interesting limp here on the button. More next level poker that I'm sure I had no idea what he was doing back in 2008, but okay, that's cool. Okay, got a walk there. Nice. I think it's the first pot we've won this session. Hello! That's right. I had the Bink Bell put away for this because, you know, it's not an episode really of Bink Bellage. Big raise. I guess he's basically shoving under the gun is what that means. Could raise this. We've been pretty tight as far as opens go. I mean, obviously, I'm worried about all 3 of these players. They all seem really competent and fairly competent and aggressive, right? So I don't want to just go. You can't go ham here, but I don't think min raising is terrible by any means. Okay. Nice. Got it done. Sniped him. That's right. Picked up those blinds and antes. You need those. You need those. They're like rations. You need those to survive. Okay, another good spot for us here. So if we were playing this tournament for real, I would be taking, and I'm sure I was taking, copious notes on all the players at the final table, especially the players around us, and this guy would be one of them. So he's limped against us. Has he raised against us? Like, I'd really want to develop a profile of him that we can kind of exploit in the long term. So when he raises, what does this mean? Does it mean he has a good hand or a bad hand? Does it mean he has this or that? Like, I as 2014 Jay Carver, have no idea. But I hope at the time, and if you guys are trying to learn, that you can look at this and say, okay, well, let's keep, if we had a record of how many times this player has opened, how many times this player has limped, we could kind of categorize where we kind of get a feel for where he's at in these hands. So we could theoretically shove this hand, right? We could shove. It's not too crazy. We shove 1.6 million to win 340K. He's going to fold pre-flop probably like 60 or 70% of the time. When he calls, we probably win, like, of that last 30% of the time, we probably win and double up like 14, 12, 13% of the time, and then we lose the rest of the time. But all things considered, that's probably still pretty close to profitable if it isn't already. But I think calling is fine as well. I think both, depending on what we really think about this raise, it really depends. Wow, I thought I was going to call. So I actually think shoving is okay. I think shoving is okay, especially if we have an inclination that we think that he's more likely to be raising here light. Okay. Nice job, old Jay Carver. That's right. Sharp instincts, just like a hyena. That's right. Survival instincts. Hyenas are actually great tournament like icons to try to, like, you know, not that I'm a hyena expert, I suppose, but still, I feel like the historical concept of what a hyena is, it's very good for tournament poker. You should all try to be more like the hyena. It's true. In this hand, so once again, I feel like if this player raises, we're all in. If he limps, we're raising. If he folds, we win. I think, like, that's a pretty standard plan here. We didn't talk about if he shoves, though. So if we were the shortest stack, if we had like 1.2 million and Anorexic had 2 million, we would call, I think, almost for sure. We would just call. We probably has hands we're ahead of often enough. But we have like 16 big blinds. We're actually in 4th, not in 5th. I hate, you know, calling all in is never good. He just has ace-4 and is like, I'm all in. The next thing you know, you're calling in for your life and, you know, brick, and you're out of the tournament. So I think this is a fold, but it's very close. If we had King 10, we would fold. If we had King Jack, we would fold. If this player had more chips, we would probably call. If if we had less chips, we would probably call. I mean, if we had 2 million, we would fold for sure. If we had like 1 million, we'd call for sure. So somewhere in between, the answer changes, right? So I feel like it's very close. I think if we had 1.2, we would call. If we had 1.8, we would fold. It's somewhere in between that we change our minds. And 2014 Jay Carver folds. Let's see what 2008 Jay Carver decides to do. That's right. That kid doesn't care. That kid didn't care. Run the cards, dealer. I don't care about what you have. I'm all in. Okay. All right, turned the gut shot. Nice. Got there. Made a pair. Not that we got there. Held, I guess. But still, sweet hand for us there. So if he's shoving 10-6 offsuit, I mean, it doesn't really tell us a ton because he could be shoving. I don't know his exact frequencies of shoving there, but obviously worked out well for us that time. I love this limp here. My plan was probably just to limp call or maybe even limp raise. And we just, nice little stab-a-reno and took it down there. I would have seriously considered raising this, but I probably felt like I had done enough like hijinks for the last orbit, and now we're actually very close to chip lead. So I would have raised, I think, but it's okay to fold. These days, I think I would have considered raising, but... So, I think we should just call here. Because, first of all, it gives Anna or Think Before You Rail an opportunity to reshove. Actually, everybody could reshove on us. We could just call and just have like 2 4s. We could have 2 6s. We could have like ace 10. We give some guys behind us opportunities to make mistakes. The only time that we really make mistakes is when it goes call and then Buko calls behind us. And then it comes like, you know, deuce 8, 10. Maybe we check fold incorrectly there sometimes or something like that. I don't know. But against these players, we make no mistakes. We just get it in on almost every flop. So I kind of like calling here. I think raising is like it's not the greatest, but I wouldn't be surprised if I did that back in the day. But just because like when you call here, these players are not just like going to click call too often with like 6s or 4s or whatever. So I kind of like just calling. It still looks kind of strong too, but we let them maybe make some mistakes behind us. Small raise I think is not great either. It just is like I think I'd rather just call or make like an exact min raise, you know. All right, back into the chip lead for us and 4 players remaining. Let's go over payouts really quick. So let's take a look here at these payouts. So top 4, 4th is 41K, 3rd is 52K, 2nd is 80K, 1st is $130,000. $200 buy-in tournament. So this player raised under the gun folded to us in the big blind, is certainly going to call. It could raise as well. Both would be viable. And especially with the shorter stack, raising is even a little bit better. Making it like 620, 680, you know, no more than 700 would be cool. Call seems fine, though. Start the check. Planning on calling. Could raise, but I think calling makes the most sense. Okay. Not the greatest turn card for us. Starting with a check seems like it makes sense. Okay. Now, if we bet river, does he fold better hands than ours? He might fold some better hands, right? He'd fold jacks, might fold queens, might fold like king deuce, right? Like maybe he'd fold like a 10 queen. Like there are some hands he might fold. But for the most part, I don't think he is folding many better hands than us, right? So I think we should start with the check and just maybe make some hero decisions if we really want to. But check fold seems like the way to go from my point of view. Damn it. The one hand, like one of the hands we could have got to fold if we had bluffed. So I think the play here is to go all in. I mean, it's really brutal when Buko just has like Jackson is like call, and then we're just like, oh fuck, we're playing a 8 million chip pot with fours. But I still think we can shove this profitably. If we had deuces, I'd fold. If we have threes, I'd probably be like, it's like the hand I wouldn't be sure about. But I think fours are good enough that we can shove this. He's going to often have hands that have threes, deuces, and fours in them at this point. You know, ace four, king four suited, the 10-4 suited, the 10-3 suited, the ace 3 offsuits. Like, he's going to have enough hands that we're way ahead of. And of course, some hands we're way behind, but not too many. And when we reshove, we make no mistakes. Like, calling, I think, is the worst option. Because if we just call, there's like 1.5 million in the pot, and if Buko shoves, and let's say he shoves with ace king or king queen suited and we fold, it's such a disaster for us. So we just move all in, make no mistakes, make just like straight up whatever we're printing mathematically, and just don't worry about it from there. So in my opinion, I think we just shove. It's the best way to play this hand. Let's see what old Jay Carver thinks. Don't like it, but got it done. All right, three-handed for 52, 80, and 130K. Locked up 50K here. I would definitely want to min-raise to kind of keep that pressure on, having just won that last hand. Nice. Good attack. I'm all in here. I don't think calling is the right play because I think the reason why calling isn't great is because we're going to just make too many mistakes post-flop, right? We call, flop comes jack, 10, 6. He bets, and we call, I guess we call. So let's say it comes queen 10 8, he bets, we just fold. He has 9 4 offsuit, you know, or ace 9 or whatever. We just make way too many mistakes. And if he has hands like jack 10 and we shove, he's not going to call him with jack 10, and we're going to get those hands to make him, his hands will be making mistakes against our exact hand if we shove pre-flop, in my opinion. So I think I like shoving here better than anything else. Even though he does have like 24 big blinds, I think all in is the way to go here. 4 million dealer. I raised it up. Nice little pickup there for us. Another nice little hand here. I think limping is the way to go, given our history, but, you know, either seems fine. Okay. This one we decided to give up for whatever reason. I just didn't feel like playing that hand. What can you say? Big raise on the button from that guy. You know, we should be making it smaller, obviously. We've been over it, but it's extra true three-handed when the big blind has 20 big blinds. So I'm making it 2.5 versus making it 2.2 or 2.1 or whatever. I don't mind just calling here. Raising would be fine as well, but I actually think I like calling a little bit better. We just, you know, see a flop, go from there, try to make him make some mistakes post-flop. Decided to go with the re-raise. Now what, old Jay Carver? Or I should say young Jay Carver. What do you want to do here, kid? You want to call? You want to call for 3 million? This is why you just call pre-flop, by the way. Little needle from the future. Idiot. Stupid Jay Carver. All right. I think we fold now, but maybe old Jay Carver is just like not having none of it and we'll just hero. Wow. What? If you had made me bet whether or not I had called, I would have said it was like 10% or less that I called this guy. Wow. Jay Carver just didn't give one freaking hoot back then. It just was like, fuck it. I call. Whatever. Run the cards, dealer. How much more is it? Don't even bother. I call. Okay, whatever. Let's see what we're up against here. Wow. That's right. I defend my chips. Once my soldiers are out at war, I just give them a crazy support, you know? We just don't leave any of our boys behind over here, you know? I think we just fold. I mean, unfortunately for these 50,000 boys, it looks like these guys are headed to the other enemy stack because we're not going to be able to do anything against a 4x on the button with this hand. We could raise, like, make it 1 million, call if he shoves, but I think folding is okay. Until we know more about like what he's doing that with, and I mean we've seen him do it now a couple times, but not enough to really be sure. I like this call here. Wow, I was like, what if we just bet out on a king deuce deuce board? Maybe he'll just fold. That's probably exactly my thought process, which isn't great. It's like, what the fuck do you have, Jay Carver? Like, if I was Buko, I would never fold anything. In fact, I would highly consider just clicking the min raise button and just laughing. So like, okay, now what, bitch? It's like, oh, okay, you win, I guess. Okay, let's see what happens here. Nice. That's right. Back in the day when the chutzpah was just enough on its own. Oh, that's the good days. Check? Why are we checking? Bet? 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 Okay. A little late, you know. Protect that deuce. We flop a deuce, the bottomest of pairs. Let's get him to fold. He has 25% or more equity, no matter what, right? Continuing with raising to larger than 2x, but okay. This is not a fold. This is a bad fold by me. 3 point anything to 1 is not a fold in the big blind when you have a king in your hand. I mean, no, it's just not a fold. Sorry. Incorrect decision, Jay Carver. I didn't understand math back then. I was a field player, bro. I just limped the button for whatever reason I feel like. I go, you know what? This would be a good time to limp. Okay. Hey, look. Hey, look, it worked. It worked. I mean, I saved myself like 100K maybe. Maybe. He could have just said, wow, this guy has nothing. I'm all in, and then owned us. But I'm going to pretend that we were the good guys in this case. Raise, please. Very similar to the queen 9. Actually, almost exactly to the queen 9. Same mistake. Call? Call? Ah, man, not a fun river. Fun flop, fun turn, less fun river. Surely we win. Nice. He had our hand. Wow. Unfortunately for you, where's the little Spaderino on the river there? Not this time. Not this time. Okay. Feeling pretty good about our spot here. Oops, didn't mean to skip ahead, but I think he folded. So actually, Buko is now in third at this point. Limp check. Bet. Okay. To bet again or not? Do we continue betting or do we not continue betting? That is the question. I think I'd rather bet than check, and here's why. The thing about this hand is that our hand is not strong enough to check call. But it has a lot of equity. A lot of equity. We have a flush draw, gush shot, 9 high could be the best hands a very small percentage of the time. You know, we could have very easily have the 9 be live for pair outs. So I think our hand is good enough that we don't want to just check fold, but I don't want to check call, which means if we're not checking, then we have to bet. And so the question is, what do we bet? And so I think we bet like something like 240, 310, 290, somewhere in that range. And if he raises, we just say, okay, he probably has us destroyed, and then we just fold. So I think we start with the bet and go from there. I like it. Nice job, Jay Carver. Nice job, young Jay Carver, young Jay Carver. I'm the old, like, you know, and the antiquity Jay Carver is just sometimes gets it right. Back in the day. Showdown here, interesting. So this is the first time we've seen a showdown by these players, maybe like ever. I think he limped. He limped with 9s pre, which is very interesting. Limped with 9s pre, which I would not have expected, and then check called flop, check turn, and checked river, which is the rest of them all make sense to me. But pre-flop is the most interesting thing because I would not think he was capable of that. And then the 4-8 played his hand pretty normally. Okay, I would call here in 2014, 2008. I might have not done that, but this is a call in my opinion. Okay. Okay. I like this raise here. I was just going to say I wasn't sure if we were going to, but I'm glad that we did. I would raise this sometimes, 360, 300, very similar to the queen 10 and queen 9 spots in analysis. But see, this time I raised. It makes no sense. I raised a lot this time too. It's just like I could raise like 295 and been totally fine. But if I went back to 2008 Jay Carver and showed him all 3 hand histories, the queen 9, the queen 10, and the ace 3, and I think I would have been like, yeah, of course I raised with an ace. But the same true mathematic reasons that this is a good raise are the same reasons why the other 2 are good raises as well, or at least very similar. Very similar. And again, if this is a slam dunk raise and the others are not, and not being considered, then it was just bad. It's just a flaw in my game. It's true. You should always try to challenge yourself to try to keep very open-minded to things. Like, people, the worst thing you can do is, like, have rules of thumb, not analyze your own thought process, not question yourself, you know? You gotta keep questioning yourself with these, in poker, particularly. Otherwise, like, if you don't challenge your own assumptions, then you're just not, you're not progressing, you're not evolving, you're not growing, and you're going to get beaten. In this hand, I just said, I'm just going to make it 6 million here. Is that okay? I like this. I mean, we could have called, obviously, but I don't mind this at all. When he keeps raising and folding, I mean, I'm happy to take 3 big blinds at a time from him. And if he wants to run the cards, cool with me. I mean, clearly, we have proven that we don't mind getting it in we don't mind getting it in at this point. So, okay. I'm all in, probably. Yep. Ooh, he calls us. Ooh, nice little 6-ball, sweating a diamond. All right, boom. Nice. All right, so now we're heads up. Heads up against a guy who I feel like we have a pretty good edge on, generally speaking. I mean, he's played fine, but he does some things that I think we could exploit pretty well here. So at this point, when he only has, like, 12 big blinds or whatever, we're basically just going to be making, like, short stack decisions. We can limp sometimes in the button if we want. We can shove sometimes in the button if we want. We can min-raise with the hands we want to get him to kind of, like, decide with. So I think with sevens, we want to min-raise. Just literally straight up min-raise. If he shoves, we snap call. If he folds, great. If he calls, whatever, we play a flop. If we have hands like Queen 6 suited and he starts to reshove a lot on us, we can start limping with those kinds of hands. And I think that's about it for the general strategy hits. Weird limp for the very first hand. I was like, let's just call. Maybe he'll just shove anything. Maybe. Nope, not this guy. Now he bets. Please call, Jay Carver. There's no way he has an ace. There's no way he has an ace and just limps. He just checks the first hand of heads up against our button limp. If he has an ace and didn't shove when we limp with sevens, it would be absolutely absurd. I guess I didn't believe him, but I should have just called because he doesn't have a queen. I mean, maybe he folds a queen to us, but, I don't love this. Oh, it worked, though. That was an interesting way to play that hand. That was a very, very creative way to play that hand there. So he min-raises? Call? No, this was a mistake. Math, hello. Min-raise? 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 Man, I don't know why I decided to limp against this guy, but, I mean, it's okay to limp some hands, but... And then I fold bottom pair. Wow. I must have really thought he had it when he raised me. He basically min-raised our limp pre, right? I must have really thought he was trying to, like, sucker us in there. Maybe we have more information than that. I was just trying to play small pots against him and didn't want to give him a double up. Now he shoves. Okay. Nice. Like, why make it 360? It makes no sense. Minimum raise. Or limp. Let's just limp. Let's keep limping. Fine, whatever. Like, why would we make it 3x? If we don't win this heads-up match, I would look back to that Jack's hand and say that is a reason. That is a potential time we blew it right there. Sevens as well. Sevens is another time we might have potentially blown it also. I'm all in, probably. Okay. So far, so good, I guess. I just had to open shove now. Seems okay. Okay. I actually wouldn't mind shoving this either because it's probably not limp calling too often. We saw him limp with nines, not this guy. I let out. Don't love it. Don't love it, but it's okay. Let's head back to open shoving again. Okay, I guess we can't win post flop. I'm just going to open shove all in. Okay, got to walk. Ooh, that's not great for us. Gonna need a 9 or a queen. Nope. Okay, we got ourselves a real poker game here now, boys and girls. So, min-raise from him. We could either re-raise or call. Can't go all in now. It's too deep to go all in. So we could either raise or call, make it like 600K, some plus minus 100K number from there. Or call, which I think is okay, but not maybe the best play, but all right. Start the check, seems okay. Do not fold. If I fold this, I would be disgusted. There's no way. I knew the power of ace-high back then, so especially when we just call pre-flop, right? He could have literally 7 deuce suited. There's no reason we should fold yet. We have a backdoor flush draw, ace-high, etc. Getting a pretty good price, 2.5 to 1. Yep. Good turn card for us. Start the check. Ooh. Wow. So, when he overbet shoves here, man. I feel like he could have hands like Queen Jack, Jack 9, 9-7, hearts, 10x once in a while, and very rarely better. Maybe he has like jacks or nines. Maybe he has like sevens or sixes or fours. And if he has fours, you know, we're not quite getting the price we need to call here. If he has hands like Jack 9 ever that we're super crushing and we fold, that's a big mistake. So I actually am not. I have no clue what I do back in the day. I have no clue what I do. Which I guess, spoiler alert, means I don't win the tournament off this hand, because I would remember that. So I don't remember what happens this hand. I probably end up folding, but I actually think that it's probably a mistake because if we had 9 deuce of hearts, we would fold for sure. But when we have ace high, we beat all his other draws, all the other nonsense. We probably are good with an ace, possibly a 9, almost for sure a heart. I mean, and if he ever has like Jack 9, 9, 7, or a lower hearts himself, and we fold, it is such a disaster for us. It's like a one-way ticket to fuck city. Like, we do not want to go to fuck city. So I feel like we should call, but I don't know what old Jay Carver does. I might have called, but I don't know. Let's find out. Don't like it. This is another spot we should look back on and reflect on that, because I don't think that was the greatest. Making a little bit bigger now is fine, because now we're 30 big blinds deep. Check, bet. All right, one for the good guys, back on the board. Oh, he just open shoves. Okay, you win this one, buddy. That makes me, by the way, want to go back to the ace-9 hand and be like, well, if he's open shoving for 30 big blinds, he could just have Jack 9 and just turn it open ender and said I'm all in. So that hand, that ace-9 hand, I had no memory of, and probably because I blocked it out of my brain. That was not the greatest hand, I think. It's tough. It's tough though. Very tough. I'm not saying it's like a botched decision, but I do think it was botched, but not like a easy one. That's for sure. Bet. Okay, fair enough. I feel like if I sometimes emphasize a little more, this is not good, by the way. I feel like if I emphasize maybe a little bit more, if I'm like, bet, they'll like somehow work through time to make me bet. You know, that's just a theory I have, though. I have to ask Jacob more about time travel next time I see him. So I raised again, shoved on. Okay, this again is making me retroactively wish I called with the ace-9 even more. And I'm sure back then I felt the same way, because when the guy is playing like that, you're like, oh man, if he's capable of shoving sometimes with these big overbets, then he surely is capable other times of doing it with draws and things. So if these hands happened in reverse, I feel like there's no way. So this time I tried to attack a limp. I mean, there's really no reason to, and I was probably getting maybe a little bit frustrated. Tough to tell, but I probably just I could have arguably just wanted to test him and see, you know, if he just folds. Do you just limp fold, buddy? If you just limp fold, that's great. I'll just take your money all day. But he didn't in this case, and I don't really love it with a hand as Swiss cheesy as this one. So I went with bet, I guess, is okay. We have bottom pair. Hopefully he just folds. If he doesn't, then it's like, I think this hand is a bit spewy. I'm not a big fan of that one. Not a big fan of that one. I also am not a big fan of the limping. I'm not a fan of limping. We're playing smaller pots on the button against a player who I've not seen a reason why we shouldn't be min raising. We're so deep. I just don't understand. I don't understand. Give him a chance to fold. Give him a chance to make mistakes. Let's us play bigger pots in position. I don't understand why we're limping so much. Sometimes I'm okay with, but why to the degree I have no idea. To this degree, I have no idea. Call? Okay. We do beat some hands. 9-8, Jack 9. That's really about it. Low clubs. And we are getting a pretty good price. We're getting like 3-1 almost. So I think I would call here, given that we have queen high. If we had 5 deuce of clubs, I'd probably fold. But given that we have queen high, I feel like we can probably call this. It seems like it's close enough that, given the math, it seems okay. Wow. I really liked how I played the majority of this, except for heads up. Like, in my brain, for some reason, I felt like I remembered this heads up match not being anything like this. And yeah, we'll talk about my memories of this in a minute, I guess. So again, that's not a good fold. Calling min raises. You can really kind of see actually that my thought process was very instinct oriented. It really hadn't been super developed into like very, very heavy math logic yet. Because I mean, I'm just playing by feel a lot. It seems like, not that my feel was like undeveloped feel. I still had a decent amount of experience and success with the feel, but I'm making fundamental errors here. It seems pretty often. Blinds are 80-60 now. Pocket kings. Okay, he makes it 800,000. He makes it like 5x. This is finally the time we've caught him with this. You know, finally we have this. So the question is, what do we do with this? Do we make it like 1.6? Do we make it like 2 million? Do we make it 1.4 million? Do we make it like just literally like a min raise? Do we shove? I mean, I think in 2014 I would make it like 1.7 million. If you want to go all in, sweet. If you don't, okay. I mean, so that's what I would do here. You could make it like 1.8, 1.7, 1.9 if you really wanted to. But calling, I think, is okay also if you really wanted to. But I think shoving is probably also the worst unless we really thought he was like super strong for some reason. I love it. 1.8 seems great. All right. Oh, man. I remember that hand now. I remember that now. Oh, that's so sad. Even after all the mistakes we made, we still were an 80-20 away. And now we're all almost 7 deuce. And do not win. All right. Well, so that's that over there. We ended up walking away with $80,000 for our trouble. Not a bad day for a $200 buy-in tournament. And I believe that was either the final or like second to last time I ever made the final table of the Full Tilt Sunday. I have a pretty sick record of like first, and the second, obviously. I've run very hot in that tournament lifetime. Really cool hand histories today. I really enjoyed going over this because I didn't really remember anything except for losing with kings against an underpair and then that was it. I didn't really. I was remembering a little bit about the guy being a little bit. He was a little unconventional. I remember that, but I didn't remember the hands or anything like that. So I really enjoyed this hand history. Hopefully you guys did as well. If you want to see me hop back in the Time Warp again, let me know in the comments below. I think at this point we can still do more tournament Time Warps, but I actually would also like to do some cash Time Warps. I don't think we've ever done a cash game Time Warp before, and I also think it'd be cool to do a other person Time Warp where we can go with someone else back in the time machine and look at like somebody else's hand history back from 2007. That could be awesome as well. So let me know what you guys want to see in the comments below. Don't forget to check out all the Reno information, runup.com/Reno. You can get all of your Run It Up needs over at runup.com. And I will see you guys back for more Run It Up action tomorrow. Peace. What the problem is, instantly somebody was like, "It's a cutlass, Jake Carver!" And I was like, oh, okay. Sorry, didn't mean to offend the pirates amongst you. You're so compassionate, J-Carves. Waiting and ready right here. Not this time. Greenbird, go! It's like Pokemon all of a sudden. God, J-Carver, you're so cool. That's right, so talented, and you don't even know.